It was a quiet Saturday evening when the family gathered for dinner. The smell of roasted chicken lingered in the air, seasoned just the way the children loved it. The dining table was set with polished cutlery and freshly folded napkins, a small detail the mother always insisted on even though no one else in the house seemed to care. For her, these small rituals were a way of holding their fragile unity together. The younger children played upstairs, their laughter echoing faintly through the old wooden beams of the ceiling. Emma, the eldest daughter, busied herself by helping her mother bring dishes to the table. She carried them carefully, as though they were treasures, glancing every so often at the clock on the wall. Her father was late. Again. Her jaw tightened. She had grown used to the excuse of work. Late meetings, last-minute emergencies, traffic that somehow only seemed to delay him and no one else. It had been going on for months, and while her younger siblings still believed his stories, Emma had begun to connect the threads. He promised he'd be home on time tonight, Emma said quietly, her voice carrying more bitterness than hope. Her mother forced a smile. She didn't want to admit it, but she was worried too. Her hands trembled slightly as she placed the chicken in the center of the table. She wanted to believe in her husband. She had defended him countless times before, reassuring the children, reminding them of his sacrifices. "He will," she replied, her tone soft but unconvincing. "Let's just wait a little longer." Emma didn't answer. She simply sat down, her eyes locked on the ticking clock. The seconds seemed louder in the silence, each one a reminder that their father was somewhere else again. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, headlights swept across the living room window. The faint hum of the car engine made everyone stir. Footsteps approached the door. The children rushed down the stairs, smiling, carrying the pure excitement of innocence. The door creaked open. Their father stepped inside, holding his briefcase. He looked tired, his tie loosened, his shirt wrinkled from a long day. He smiled faintly, trying to mask the unease in his eyes. But there was something else too. Papers were tucked hastily under his arm, and as he bent to set down the briefcase, a folded sheet slipped to the floor. Emma noticed before he did. She bent quickly, her reflex sharper than his attempt to stop her. She picked it up. It wasn't just a sheet of paper. It was a photograph. Her breath caught. Her heart skipped. The picture showed him, her father, standing with another woman. Not just standing near her, not just colleagues in some casual setting, but holding her face with tenderness, smiling with a softness he had not shown at home in months. Emma's hand trembled as she held it high, her voice shaking with rage. "What is this?" The entire room froze. The children, still too young to understand fully, looked from the photo to their father, confusion clouding their faces. The mother turned slowly, her expression pale, eyes searching desperately for an explanation that she already feared. The father's lips parted. He stepped forward, his hand reaching for the photo. "Emma, that's not. Don't!" She snapped, pulling it away. Her voice was sharp, her eyes glistening with tears. "Don't you dare lie to me. Not tonight." She slammed the photo onto the table. The plates rattled. The candles flickered, casting restless shadows across the walls. The mother's breath faltered. She picked up the photo with shaking hands. When her eyes landed on the image, her fingers slipped and the picture dropped onto the table again. Her chest heaved as though she had been struck. "How long?" she whispered, her voice breaking. "How long has this been going on?" Her husband swallowed hard, his Adam's apple bobbing. He opened his mouth, but no sound came. Emma's anger flared hotter. "You always said you were working late. You always said you were doing it for us. But all this time, you were lying, building another life while this one crumbled." The younger son, only 10, finally spoke, his voice trembling. "Dad, why would you hurt us?" The innocence in his words pierced deeper than any accusation. The father's shoulders sagged, his strength drained. He looked smaller now, cornered in his own home, with nowhere to hide. The mother stepped back, her hand clutching the chair for support. Tears streamed down her face. "All the nights I defended you, all the times I told them you were tired, that you were working hard for this family. I was defending a lie." Her voice cracked, but her anger grew sharper. "I gave you everything, and you gave me betrayal." Silence thickened. The children's eyes shifted between their parents, watching the world they knew disintegrate in front of them. The father finally whispered, barely audible, "I never meant for it to happen this way. This way." The mother spat, her voice like broken glass. "There should have been no way at all." Emma rose from her chair, her fists clenched. "Just admit it. Admit what you've been doing." He looked at her, his eyes glistening. He didn't speak, but his silence was louder than any confession. The storm outside began to roar, rain hammering the windows, thunder rolling in the distance. It was as if nature itself bore witness to their collapse. The mother straightened. Her voice, though trembling, carried steel. "Get out." He blinked, startled. "Please, don't do this in front of the kids." Her scream ripped through the air. "Get out." The children flinched, Daniel covering his ears as tears streamed down his face. Emma wrapped her arms around him, glaring at her father through her own tears. He looked around at them one last time, his wife broken, his children shattered, his eldest daughter burning with fury. He grabbed his coat and briefcase, but he didn't look back. His steps were heavy as he walked to the door. When it closed behind him, the slam echoed like thunder, sealing the fate of the family left behind. The mother collapsed into her chair, sobbing uncontrollably. The children gathered close, Emma holding her siblings tightly as if to shield them from the emptiness he left. The food on the table grew cold. The chicken, once fragrant, now sat untouched. The laughter that had filled the house hours before was replaced by silence and quiet sobs. The hours that followed, the storm outside raged deep into the night, matching the turmoil within the walls of the house. The mother sat in the dark, the photo still on the table, its edges curling slightly under the weight of spilled tears. Emma cleaned up the plates silently, her movements sharp, mechanical. The younger children had fallen asleep in the living room, too exhausted from crying to make it upstairs. She covered them with blankets and kissed their foreheads, her heart heavy. Her mother finally whispered, her voice hoarse, "I should have seen it." Emma shook her head, crouching beside her. "No, Mom. He lied to all of us. He fooled us." The mother stared into the candlelight, her eyes hollow. Do you think he loves her?" The question broke Emma's heart. She wanted to say no, to offer comfort, but the truth pressed against her tongue, bitter and heavy. She remained silent. The storm passed near dawn. The house was quiet, the only sound the soft breaths of the children sleeping on the couch. Emma stood by the window, staring at the fading rain. She knew their lives had changed forever. The man who once was their protector had become the source of their deepest pain. She whispered to herself, more promise than hope, "We'll survive this. We have to." And though her voice was steady, her tears betrayed the weight of the burden she now carried. That Saturday night, meant for warmth, laughter, and family, became the night their world broke apart, and its shadow would haunt them for years to come.